Jonny, man of the match performance before the international break. Managers sometimes say a break has come at either the wrong or the right time. Given that showing, which side of the fence did you fall on? Did you want to carry that momentum on, or was it nice to go into that little break period on a high?
I suppose my body was a bit, took me a few days to get over it, playing 90 minutes, and I think the 90 minutes before that was in the cup, but maybe a bit of a less intense game, so yeah, it took me a while to recover, so I was probably enjoyed the little break, to be honest.
You speak about that, your body adjusting to having played a full game. Given that doesn't happen regularly, how do you actually manage being ready, match ready, and to turn in a performance like that cold?
I suppose training hard. There's a fine line, I suppose, between sort of everyday grinding, but I suppose more experience I've got to try and pick my moments and knowing when I can push and ease off a little bit. But like it's very hard to prepare for a full 90 minutes, and I suppose it maybe is within the game as well. I suppose the more experience I've got as well, and the further I've gone in my career, I kind of understand my own game a bit more, and know when to sort of pace myself throughout the match as well.
That understanding of your body and when to push and when not to push through training periods, have you also found that the older you've gotten, the better that understanding has become?
Oh, definitely, and I suppose you're always trying to learn from past experiences, and I went through I've been through periods of injury and coming back and maybe pushing too much. So I suppose, especially last season when I came back, having that sort of understanding that I need to rein it back a bit, and sometimes you need other people to sort of pull you out of sessions, or tell you when you need to push a bit more. And I think I've definitely benefited from those experiences in the past.
We're speaking about the break from a physical recuperation point of view,
yeah.
But is it also good mentally? Because we've just been discussing Manchester United and how incessant the coverage around this club is, to get away a little bit from the noise?
To be honest, yeah, I can sort of switch off pretty easy now, and I was able to have a few days off with the family, and sort of it was only maybe about a weekend there. I sort of remember thinking to myself, I haven't thought about football at all, and I suppose for me that's a nice place to sort of be, where I can sort of switch off. And obviously when you got young kids and that, you're busy constantly all the time anyway, so isn't really until you sort of come back into training then you can start planning for the next match coming up, and the last couple of days being able to sort of try and get focus on to the weekend.
Are you able to switch off during the season as well?
Yeah, I suppose in between games, well, the games come quite thick and fast here, and you're sort of you end up getting into a place where you're grinding out games constant, and you play and recover, and but I feel like I've always been in a good place. Probably more so towards the end of your career. Like I say, you know yourself more. You know who you are, what type of player you are, and you can sort of go into the games a bit more relaxed, and what will be, I suppose.
There'll be people listening to this, not just other footballers, but in other walks of life, who'll be thinking, what's his tools, what's his coping process to sort of drown out that noise? Because when it is so consistent, persistent, loud, it's difficult, I think, as a human being, regardless of how thick your skin is or how well prepared you are, to pull yourself away from it.
I suppose, yeah, I don't read too many newspapers. I don't watch. I mean, I'll watch games if they're on, but like I said, with the young kids in that, you don't get a time to even watch games. You get them in the bed at night, and we're on the road traveling to games. So for me, I suppose I'm able just to sort of turn up, go out, play my football, and finish the game, and then switch off from it completely, I suppose. And I think it's definitely made it a lot more enjoyable for me, because sometimes I've been there in the past, and especially at Manchester United, like you say, whenever the scrutiny and is so huge, and yeah, being able to switch off it's a nice place to be.
It's basically thank you to the kids then.
Well, yeah.
We spoke about your performance before the international break, clean sheet against Champions League Aston Villa. Defensively, despite there being so much shuffling at the back, the consistency has actually been there in terms of clean sheets, and conceded the same amount of goals as Manchester City and Chelsea. So when you guys have been analysing performances, are there still things to improve defensively, or is it more the not putting the ball in the back of the net?
Definitely, and I think defensively without the ball, maybe I think the manager's always tried to play a high pressing game. I think he's tried to put a little bit more emphasis on when we are having to defend deeper, can we defend deeper? And then I suppose we're still working on that, and I'm sure the manager's quite pleased. We've probably gone a little bit more zonal in our defending this season. So with the new coaches coming in, Ruud's quite heavily influential in Rennie in terms of analysing the games and making sure that we're every sort of little details picked up on and making sure we're in the right position. So I feel like defensively we've improved, and hopefully in order to win games you have to be good defensively, and on the flip side of that then is probably what you're going to allude to is to score more goals, and we need to add that part to our game.
The underlying metrics is that the club are massively underperforming their expected goals, and if there was more alignment with their, perhaps United would be like third or fourth in the league on the underlying metrics. Does that then offer a little bit of confidence and perspective that chances are being created, just problems in the final third, and if that gets remedied, and that naturally happens usually over the course of a season, that there will be an uptick in performances and results?
Well, you'd hope that you score more goals, results will get better, and like you mentioned, the defensive side of it, has improved and it's been good. So I think it's something that the managers addressed, after coming back from the international break. It's something that we want to look at, and that's up to, it's not always just the forward players, and I think we're getting into good positions, and our final ball needs to be better, and maybe once you get one or two goals and you start gaining that confidence in games, you can be a bit more patient around the opposition box and picking the right pass and taking care.
You spoke about the manager there, reinforcing the things that need to be done now that you're back from the international break. What's been his messaging throughout the season? Because I appreciate it must be quite tough for him, because we speak about the scrutiny. It all ends up on him and his future.
He's a very strong-minded man, and I admire him for that. You see it. He's very principled in the way he wants to work, and the way he is as a person. And he very rarely changes, and shows a real sort of strength in who he believes that he is and who he wants to be. And like I say, I admire him for that sort of strength and courage to continue to. He's always very positive, and his message is always the same and very consistent. With
the whole coaching staff, you speak about the positive messaging. How do they try and reinforce that? Because the feeling is always a swell of negativity and pressure and scrutiny, and everything's wrong from the external world. So internally here, how do the coaching staff and the players, especially the senior players, try and keep that perspective? Yeah,
it's important, I suppose, because that's the job of the coaches, is to create that environment and culture within the club that that we still keep pushing, and we don't the results and obviously a league position, like I say, you can take the positives from the defensive side of the game. We want to add more goals, and I suppose from their perspective, always looking at the positive side of it. Where can we improve, and not sort of letting outside noise sort of influence. I suppose Ruud spoke the other day about the fact that it's a game, and going back to when you're a kid playing football and going out and competing, and I think that's where everyone wants to get to, that sort of place where you're not affected by outside noise and you can just go out and perform to your best every week, and that's what I suppose every footballer every single weekend strives for.
Yeah, to try and enjoy it again,
exactly,
rather than endure it.
Play with enjoyment, and smile on your face. But obviously we've got expectations to win football matches, and it's always more enjoyable whenever you win.
I spoke to the manager and I asked him if he thought some of the issues were more psychological than tactical, with the pressure and the expectation. Do you find that as well, maybe?
I don't feel that. I don't feel that there's an issue in the squad. I mean, it's an easy sort of thing to look at, I suppose, when results aren't going, or can they handle pressure? I don't know. It's not something that you can measure, I suppose. But and I don't get that sort of feeling within the squad either.
And then, in terms of the dressing room, a few players have come out to say, we're desperate to perform for this club. It means a lot to us. We care. We do want to turn things around. We do want to put Manchester United back where the club belongs. You also get that sense and feeling from everyone.
Definitely, and you can see it the way the lads train every day, the professionalism within the group, and you get that sort of feeling in the games as well. I've been around football a long time, and I know when a dressing room's pushing, and we're doing everything we can here to push to try and make sure that we're competing at the top.
Is that the message you would want to reinforce to the fans? Because we're speaking a lot about what gets said inside here, but if you were to share a message to supporters and to people who comment on Manchester United about the state of play.
Look, I think fans and they know football and they can see it, and when they watch a game, I hope that they're getting that sense that everyone's fighting and doing everything they can to win a game of football, and because I've no doubt if they didn't feel that, if the supporters didn't feel that they'd let the players know, and I have to say, the supporters at this football club have been nothing but supportive. Even last week against Aston Villa, I think they could see the energy and determination that we put into the match, and they showed that afterwards.
Now, winless in 5 games across all competitions. Restart now after the international break, doing everything possible to change that.
Yeah, I suppose you can sort of maybe at this period of the season, you can sort of block the games off in between the international periods, and that last one, it wasn't probably how we wanted to go. Too many draws in there, and I suppose you can add to that, the goals, but we've got 3 goals in Porto, and on the other side of that, conceded 3. So I think for us going forward is try and build on that defensive platform that we talked about, and then add the goals and see where it takes us.
Just to close off, is this period with the stop-start because of the international breaks, is that actually quite unhelpful to build sort of rhythm and consistency in performances?
Look, every club's got to go through it, and every club's got to deal with players going away, and you wonder what sort of state the lads are going to be in when they come back. Are they going to be fit? And we've got lads going to South America to play, all over the world. So it's a difficult thing to judge too, and.
Not specifically just in terms of United, but for everyone to try and get some level of consistency.
Yeah, but I mean, I think international football, everyone loves playing for the country, and it's there's a huge amount of pride goes into that, and we know obviously then after November, there's quite a period then before the March international break, and that period over Christmas and is always such a huge thing for this league in this country, and it's a great thing to be involved in.
Thank you so much, Jonny.